Oh my gosh, I didn't plug the microphone in. Take it out. Hey guys, we are back. This is Kenzie and Kris with To Be Ministries. We are helping you learn how to study your Bible, and in this video, we are going to talk about Bible translations. A lot of people ask questions about what translation should I read and why, and are they all credible? Can I read them all the same? So that's what we're going to talk about today. What translation do you use?
Well, that's an interesting answer for me. I use a lot of different translations. The NIV, New International Version, the New American Standard, English Standard Version. On your phone or any smart, you can get any version your heart's desire.
Yes. As you can see, Kris has 3 or 4 different ones just here that she owns, plus she has the online resources. So how do we pick one? I actually have a funny story to share. I had a friend who was newly studying her Bible, and I told her to download the YouVersion app. And the first version of the Bible that comes up when you download that app is the King James Version. Now, the King James Version
Thou shalt
Bible,
be careful when thou readest the King James Version,
is Old English. It is very Old English and hard to understand. It's almost like a different language. She didn't tell me that. So she started reading. We were doing a plan together, and she started reading.
Oh my gosh.
And she texted me and said, "Is there a way to make my Bible less thou and shalt?
Oh my
shalt
gosh.
not?" And I just bellied over because I'm like, this poor girl
She didn't know.
has been trying to read her Bible in almost what's like a different language.
Yeah.
So the New King James Version is on the more, what's called the more formal side of the spectrum. You've got formal translations, and then you've got more functional translations. And then even past functional is what's called paraphrasing, which we'll explain in a second. But the more close to the formal side is the more word for word they're going to be translated. So it's a little more chunky and hard to read sometimes because it doesn't necessarily flow in the English language. Kind of like when you try to translate Spanish word for word to English, sometimes you're reading the dog of brown instead of the brown dog.
Right.
So that would be a word for word translation. Along that line, if you keep going from formal to functional, so we're going from word to word closer to what I would call phrase for phrase, using the Spanish example. Instead of saying the dog of brown for the Spanish word for word translation, it would say the brown dog.
Right.
So it's taking that original language and translating it into the closest it can phrase that makes sense for the English. And then with paraphrase at the very end, what a paraphrase Bible does is it's like more of a poetic translation of the Bible. It isn't word for word. It sometimes isn't even exactly phrase for phrase, but it's someone read what the verse said and then poetically explained what that meant. So that was a lot of information. You're probably going, well, what do I choose?
Right.
It depends on what your purpose is. Are you studying for academic purposes? Are you studying to more understand really what the verse said, the words say? Or is it more of a devotional time for you? You could use any of the translations for devotional time. Often what I encourage most people to do is use more than one. Maybe even pick one from each. Maybe we'll give some examples.
Sure.
Would you like to read them?
Sure.
You want to just pick some?
Okay, so this is 1 Corinthians 10:13 in a few different versions. So just so you kind of have an idea of what the King James is and all, I'm going to start with that one. There hath no temptation taken you, but such is as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above what ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
I have no idea what
Different
that means.
language, that we just don't typically use. This would be a word-for-word translation, the ESV, again, that's English Standard Version.
Same verse.
Same verse. So no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond what your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. So that, I think,
Much
kind of
better.
helps you understand it a little bit, talking about you versus ye. But the last one I'll just read, just to give you an idea, is the message. No test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit, and he'll always be there to help you come through it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, because our next video we are going to talk a little bit more, now that we've picked a translation or two, how do we approach the text? How do we read it? Do we read it and take whatever meaning out of it we want? Or do we search for something a little more solid? We're going to talk about that at the next video. Thanks.